Good afternoon, TEDx Youth KL. We're going to talk a little bit about whales, dolphins, and the sea today. Here we go. When I was 10, I fell madly in love with the sea and marine life. You can see up on the screen, this is my scrapbook, which I had kept as a kid, containing all the newspaper articles and magazine articles on marine life and the sea. I was so proud of it, I loved it so much, I actually took it to university with me. So one day my mother showed me a newspaper article containing a picture of a marine biologist hovering over a coral reef. And immediately, at 10 years old, I said, I want to be a marine biologist. I didn't actually know what that meant or entailed, but I just said, I want to be that. By the time I was 13, I devised a grand plan for my life. I said that I would go to university in Hawaii to undertake a degree in marine science, after which I would specialize in dolphin research because I grew this huge obsession for dolphins and whales. After which, when I graduated, I would return to Malaysia to start up my own non-profit research organization, which I have in the span of 12 years, finally with the establishment of my own NGO last year. Thank you. The thing is, while my parents were incredibly supportive of my dream, as unconventional as it was or is, their friends actually said to me, you should go and study medicine, you should go and study law, your grades are so good, don't do this, there's no future in it, not important. But that actually spurred me further to reach out and reach for my dream. I've had the privilege of working all over the world with amazing animals, training under different people. I've had the privilege of flying over the Andaman Sea, looking for dugongs, working in the Arabian Sea on humpback whales, on dolphins, working on dolphins in Florida, in Alaska, in Thailand. But it wasn't until I returned to Malaysia in 2007 that I realized how much I actually needed to make my dream a complete reality. When I first started working in 2009 here, a very well-known and well-respected professor actually said to me, why are you studying dolphins? There's no future in this kind of science. You should just keep dolphin watching as an annual hobby. Not only did it upset me a little, but it shocked me that someone as learned as this professor did not have a wider vision. Also, if I was a website, this is what my FAQ page would look like. There are whales and dolphins in Malaysia? In fact, the question was asked to me just the end of last month. Next, where? Next, are you pulling my leg? I thought they only exist in cold countries. No. And surely any whale or dolphin here is just passing through, right? They're migrating. Also no. In fact, we have 27 species of whales, dolphins, porpoise, and dugongs collectively. And why not? Malaysia has 4,675 kilometers of coastline, 549,500 square kilometers of territorial waters. And I want just to show you the animals that I've been very privileged to work with in Malaysia and very privileged to photograph. Spinner dolphins in the South China Sea, humpback dolphins in Kuala Sepetang in Perak, Irrawaddy dolphins in Kuala Larut in Perak, bottlenose dolphins off Pulau Langkawi, Indo-Pacific finless porpoises in Pulau Langkawi, and dugongs in Johor. So before I continue about dolphins, whales, marine life, I want to talk a little bit about the state of our environment, the state of our marine environment. When I say our, I mean Malaysia. I'm not talking on a global scale. 1141 denotes the number of species in our country that is listed as endangered, critically endangered, or extinct on a global list of threatened species issued by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. That actually just puts us in third place behind Ecuador and the United States. Wow, are we in trouble or what? Let's talk a little bit about seafood. Have you ever heard anybody tell you, don't worry, there are many more fishes in the sea? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, I'll tell you now, sadly, that's not true. Malaysians love their seafood. We love food and we love our seafood. We've loved it so much, we've loved it to death. We are the largest consumers of seafood in Southeast Asia, top 5 in Asia. Okay, hang on. But guess what? In 36 years, in just 36 years, we have decimated our seafood yield per square kilometer by 82%. Ladies and gentlemen, our seas are emptying out. If you ever went to the supermarket, you went to the seafood section, you will notice two things. Either the fishes are all the same size because they are farmed, or they are undersized because we've caught all the big ones. But because we still need to fuel that demand, we have to keep catching, and we're catching the little ones. So someday, what's going to be left? So I'm often asked, why marine mammals? Why whales? Why dolphins? Why didn't I choose to study any other animal? For the simple reason that they're very charismatic animals. Growing up, some of you may have watched popular Hollywood movies, such as Flipper, Free Willy, The Whale Rider, and more recently, A Dolphin Tale. They somehow have this ability to tug at our heartstrings and make our hearts melt. Now, if I said, hey, you should cut down on eating seafood, you should cut down on eating fish, eating crabs, you're going to get very upset with me. You're going to say, this environmentalist telling me what I can and cannot eat. Okay? But if I showed you now a video of a dolphin stuck in a fishing net or someone killing a whale, you're going to get really upset and you're going to think, I need to go out and do something about it. I need to go and sign a petition. I need to stop this. And that's why they are great mascots for conservation. They carry that message of conservation. An example here that we're working on in Malaysia is this. What you'll see is seagrass. Just grass, right? But did you know seagrass is so important in keeping the balance of our ecosystem, keeping the welfare of us living on land? Why? They purify the water, they stabilize the sediment, they protect us from natural hazards along the coast because they are able to dissipate wave energy. Okay? Yet, as important as they are, and they are also nursery grounds for most of your seafood. But yet, as important as they are not protected under any national policy, except within marine park areas. In the Johor Straits alone, the seagrasses there have an estimated economic value of 16.5 million ringgit per year. And this is probably an underestimate. Seagrasses are also important habitat for charismatic species such as dugongs, sea turtles, starfish, seahorses, and as I said earlier, an important breeding ground, nursery ground for a lot of your seafood. So what we're trying to do here, through some of the work that we're doing, is to use the dugong as a flagship species for protecting seagrasses, because dugongs rely heavily on seagrasses. So we're saying we need to protect the dugongs, we need to protect their habitat so that they can survive. But in protecting their habitat, we are protecting ourselves. We are safeguarding an important natural resource that we have. The other thing is marine mammals are indicators of the health of our seas. If you look at this picture here, this is a whale that had stranded on the shores of Pahang in 2008. If you look at it, it doesn't look like it was hurt. There's no scars, there's no marks, there's no injuries. It looks just a little bit skinny, but it looks fine otherwise. Post-mortem results that were published this year indicated that this whale had a hard plastic bottle cap, plastic garbage bag, plastic sheet, green nylon rope, and a load of fishing gear found inside its stomach. Now, why would a whale that typically eats plankton and small fish like anchovies end up eating all these man-made plastics that are non-digestible? It's telling us something's happening out there. Our seas are polluted. And it is. I just came back from a survey last week in Perak, and we came across a vast area full of plastics in the first 2-3 meters of the water column. Anything that you can think of, you could find there. Slippers, buckets, plastic sheets, barrels, rope, anything. It was all floating there. And the best part is we actually encountered a group of dolphins swimming within this garbage and having garbage caught onto its net. So we must do something about this. Our seas are not very clean. But I understand that I cannot expect anybody to want to care or to want to do something about marine conservation if they didn't know what the issues are. If they didn't even know there were marine mammals in Malaysia, right? Knowledge is power, and that knowledge gives us that motivation to do something. So I realized that as a scientist, I cannot just do science for the sake of science. Good science is great, but on its own becomes a little bit redundant for conservation. I realized I needed to bridge the gap between the general public, yourselves, and policymakers. A colleague of mine published a paper this year in this scientific journal, and it's called "So You Want to Be a Jedi?" And I completely agree with what he says in the article. He says, in the best sense, advocating for conservation science simply means ensuring its results get into the hands of relevant people in a format that is clearly understandable. It is simply communicating science to a wide and appropriate audience. And that's why I'm really thankful for the opportunity to stand up here in front of you today to tell you a little bit about whales, dolphins, and what faces our marine environment. One of the ways we're trying to bridge this gap is through the research projects that I'm running, Langkawi Dolphin Research and Matang Dolphin Research, where we give youth the opportunity to get involved in research, to know what the issues are, and to go out and tell others about it. We also have a dolphin exhibition coming up soon, where we're going to train youth pilots to be the ones who are giving visitors to the exhibition the tour around, telling them about marine mammals, telling them about all the issues involved. I came across this little piece of statement in a wrapper inside the Italian chocolate that I was eating the other day, and it says, "The more impossible a dream is, the more realizing it will make you happy." And I realized that trying to create a marine, environmentally sustainable, aware, and caring society in Malaysia is a great challenge. But I think together we can. And if we make it a reality, I think in the long run we'll all be a lot happier in terms of our welfare. And I encourage you to go out there and find out about local conservation issues, get involved. To those of you thinking of a career in environmental sciences, go for it. Don't let anybody tell you it's not important or it's worthless, because we need you. And finally, I just want to dedicate today's talk to a colleague and a friend who was one of Malaysia's pioneers in marine conservation. Thank you.